Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kendra and today I'll be doing my top 10 books that I want to read in 2020. The first book that I really want to read in 2020 is A Wish for Us by Tilly Cole. I read A Thousand Boy Kisses by the same author a couple years ago and absolutely loved that book. It was so emotional and I loved it so much. And this book says it is another emotional book, so I'm really excited to read this one. And this one says it's a story of music, a story of conquering it all, and a story of healing. And I'm really excited to read this one. And I did get this book from Shelby at Shelby Taggart Reads for Christmas, so I am so excited to read this one. The next book that I really like to read is Beartown by Frederick Bachman, and the only thing I really know about this is that it's set in a small town and the whole town is revolved around their ice hockey team, and one of the players, I believe, gets accused of raping a girl and it tears the town apart. So I am really excited to read this one. I've heard amazing things about it and I heard it's really a heartbreaking story. The next book I'd really like to read in 2020 is Next Year in Havana by Chanel Cleaton, and I've had this book on my TBR for forever and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. I have the second book and then the third book is coming out this year, so I really want to read this one so I can read the other two books. But this is about a woman. She moves back to Havana where her family is from and she learns about her family roots. So I've heard amazing things about this one as well and I really want to read this one. The next book on my list is Making Faces by Amy Harmon, and this is about 5 men. They go off to war and he ends up coming back with wounds on his face, and it says this is a modern tale of Beauty and the Beast. So I've heard this book is very emotional and I'm really excited to read this one. The next book that I'd really like to read in 2020 is Ask Again Yes by Mary Beth Keane, and this is about 2 neighbors in a suburban neighborhood and it is about their family and the dramas between these families, and I really like books about family dramas, so I'm really excited to read this one and I've heard great things about this book as well, so I'm really excited to read this one. The next book on my list that I really like to read is Phoebe Drake Starts Over by Linda Holmes, and it's about Evie and her husband was killed in a car crash, and then there's also Dean, where he was a former baseball major league pitcher, and they end up becoming neighbors and they agree that they won't talk about each other's past. So I'm assuming obviously there's some type of romance that sparks up between these two, and I'm really excited to read this one, and I've heard also great things about this one as well. The next book on my list is Mrs. Everything by Jennifer Weiner, and this is about 2 sisters in the 1950s, and that's pretty much all I know about this book, and I've heard that this book is also really emotional and I can't wait to get to this one in 2020. The next book that I really want to read in 2020 is Summer of '69 by Ellen Hildebrandt, and I started this book in November and I really enjoyed it. I just never picked it back up for other books that I really needed to read at the time, but I definitely want to make a priority to read this one in 2020 because when I did read the little bit that I did read, I really loved it. And this is about a family that always goes to Nantucket for the summer and they stay at their grandmother's house, but this particular summer not all of them go to the beach house. So it is a family drama and it's set obviously in 1969, so I love historical fiction and I'm really excited to finish this book because, like I said before, it was really good and yeah, I just want to finish this one. Another book that I really want to get to in 2020 is How to Walk Away by Kathleen Center. I know that Shelby at Shelby Taggart Reads has loved this book and she's been bugging me to read this one, so I definitely want to make a priority to read it in 2020. And this is about a woman. She has it all. She has her dream job. She has a fiance, but one day everything is taken away from her. So this seems like another emotional book, and I can't wait to read this one. And the last book on this list is Darling Rose Gold by Stephanie Warbell. I've heard amazing things about this book, and this is actually an art copy. This book doesn't come out until March of 2020, and this is about Rose Gold. She's 18 and she has been told her whole life that she is seriously ill, and her mother has like fundraisers and such to help raise money for the medical bills, but as it turns out, her mom is actually a fraud and she ends up going to prison. And then when she gets out of prison, her mother and her reunite and she takes her back in. So this book sounds very, very similar to a true story of Gypsy. I can't remember her last name, but this sounds very, very, very similar. So I'm wondering if this is inspired by that true story. And if so, I really love true crime and I'm really excited to read this one. And like I said, I've heard great things about this already, so I'm excited to get to this one. So those are the 10 books that I am prioritizing to read in 2020. Let me know in the comments if you read any of these books and let me know what you thought of them. Is there any other books that I should add to this list? And until then, I will see you in my next video. Bye!